Welcome back. We're going to do something a bit different than our usual 50s and 60s cars today. In honor of the Christmas season, we're going to take a look at one of the most iconic family haulers of the 1980s and 1990s, the Ford Taurus wagon, specifically the 1989 Taurus, which was what Clark Griswold drove in the classic movie Christmas Vacation. So consider this video our Christmas special. Now, the Griswold family didn't drive just any old '89 Taurus. Rather, theirs had a custom exterior wood trim package that will remind viewers of the iconic family truckster that Clark drove in the original Vacation movie. Full-sized rear-wheel drive wagons were becoming dinosaurs in the late 1980s, and the Griswold family was changing with the times. The actual production 1989 Taurus was notable for the fact that it did not have a factory wood trim package available, like what you would see in the Christmas Vacation movie. As we discussed in our Edsel Wagon video, American car makers had a long history of putting fake wood trim on the outside of their top-of-the-line wagons, and both GM and Chrysler were still following this trend in the late 80s. Ford's own LTD Country Squire, a relic from the past, still had wood grain exterior trim as well, but the trend was clear and that car was being phased out. Ford was looking to the future, and the future did not have wood on the outside of the wagons, fake or otherwise. You see, the Taurus was a radical departure from everything that came before it. It was meant to be a sleek, futuristic car that broke from the past and looked forward. And to be honest, it absolutely succeeded. So let's dive into what made the Taurus wagon such an important vehicle of the late 80s and early 90s. We'll talk about the styling, the exterior and interior features, some fun facts, and share our final thoughts for you in this Christmas special video. And as always, if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like or leave a comment. It's a huge help for us. The Taurus was a ground-up, brand new car that looked nothing like anything else on the road when it made its debut. Sleek and rounded, it was futuristic and a radical departure from the cars that came before it. And in many ways, it did accurately predict the future of car design in a way that the cars of the later 90s and 2000s actually did not. It had an aerodynamic rounded look, aerodynamic wheels, a digital dash, no large grille opening. That sure sounds like a lot of today's EV designs, doesn't it? When it comes to looks, it left its competition in the dust, and when fully loaded, the Taurus LX easily competed with many of the European luxury brands at a substantially lower cost. A fully loaded LX model even undercut the $17,740 base price of the 1989 Volvo 240DL, which was the entry-level Volvo for 1989 and a car that had been in production since the 1970s. Despite the ubiquitousness on America's roads in the 1980s, in our opinion, the Taurus was a far better value and much better looking. Let's take a look at the price breakdown of the Taurus trims, just to give you a better idea of where this car sat. We've adjusted the prices for inflation so that we can all have a better understanding of where the Taurus wagon fit into the whole vehicle hierarchy of 1989. As you can see, the prices were in a range that we would still expect a Ford product to be in today, well in the mainstream vehicle price range. The '89 Taurus started at the low end with the L model, and as you can tell from the price breakdown, Ford really wanted you to step up to the GL model, offering a lot more equipment or a lot more optional equipment for hardly any additional cost. The L and base GL came pretty bare bones, with manual windows and locks, an AM/FM radio with no cassette, and no air conditioning. Absolutely unheard of today. Also, in the late 1980s, the bench seat was still hanging around in American cars, and a cloth split bench seat was standard, with available basic vinyl on the L and GL, or leather on the LX. But The bucket seat trend was taking off, and cloth or leather buckets were available in the GL and LX. Despite the Taurus being a car of the future, it wasn't immune from the dark blue and dark red upholstery options that were so common in the 1980s. However, more contemporary titanium and sandalwood colors were also available. The grays and beiges of the 90s were available in the 80s on the Taurus. A Taurus LX wagon was actually a really nice place to spend time. The LX could easily pass as an entry-level luxury car with power adjustable leather buckets, a premium stereo cassette audio system, nicely grained dash plastic, even though it was hard, it was nicely grained, power windows and locks, simulated wood trim that was just as convincing as any other unconvincing fake wood trim of the 80s, and advanced digital instrumentation. It even had a very intuitive automatic climate control system, just like the far more expensive BMW and Mercedes wagons did. And all the switchgear looked very modern compared to what preceded it in the earlier 80s and before. We also can't go without mentioning the awesome rear-facing third row seat. It was a great place for kids to have fun, make faces at other cars, or get yelled at for giving other motorists the finger. L and GL wagons came standard with a 3-liter V6, while the LX came standard with a powerful 3.8-liter V6 that was also optional on the GL. The 3.8 packed 140 horsepower, but a hearty 215 pound-feet of torque. These were all very respectable numbers for 1989 and scooted the Taurus wagon along America's roads quite nicely. That's our quick look at the Griswold's Ford Taurus wagon for 1989. Ford took a huge risk with the Taurus, and we'll dig deeper into that in a future video. But for now, we'll just say that it was a risk that paid off. Ford sold over 284,000 sedans in 1989 and an additional 87,000 wagons. The Griswold family was definitely not alone in their love for the Taurus wagon. Thanks for watching our Christmas Vacation Quick Special Edition. Please subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.